Hey guys, we're back finally after a very long layoff. I think the last we recorded together was March 14th. So that was, oh my goodness gracious, 16 days ago. Um, to be honest with you guys, you good, Trey?
No, I was about to say, like, even still, we like lost the episode due to copyright strike and all that. So like, it's been even longer for y'all. Uh,
Yes, we
we got a lost episode, unfortunately, but it happens.
we had the Peterian the
We were
Piotorian
just talking about how
episode.
awesome Petty is, pretty much, and how he's an all-time great
Yeah,
in
and
the making.
we lost that episode because of a copyright strike, and then when I was trying to fix it, and this is really on me, I had some really difficult stuff happen in my personal life that honestly made it hard for me to do most of the things I do. I'm really busy, so I picked the things that I thought I could manage doing through it all, and I did them, and I tried to make this one of them, but it just wasn't. I tried my best, and I apologize to the fans and Trayvon as well. I know you wanted to get going. I did my best, I really did, but I have recovered enough. I'm doing well now. Recovered enough to get back to it, so we're gonna be back on our grind. Y'all get everything you were supposed to have gotten a month or whatever ago. And yeah, we've got a fun card to talk about. Well, fun-ish. UFC 259 it was, or 260? I think it was 260.
260, 260, 260, 260. It was 260.
So there were some good things, there's some boring things, and we're going to talk about the good things. Trayvon, up to you. You want to start top down or bottom up? I think we should do top down since we lost last time
Yeah,
we
there's not
did.
much to go about. Yeah, we go top down.
Let's hear it.
So unfortunately, you guys didn't get to hear any of my predictions or anything like that. But I'm pretty sure I've told him on this. I'm pretty sure he remembers.
You mentioned it on
I
the podcast many times.
maybe immediately. I picked Ngannou to win the fight, not because I necessarily thought he was going to be better. I thought he was going to just kind of like hurt Miocic, and Miocic wouldn't be able to survive it this time. But lo and behold, man, he looked improved. I have to respect it. I have to admire that. Like, you guys probably know this. I know Arman knows this. And everybody around me knows that trains like development, get better. You got to improve. I love development. I love to see fighters get better. All the damn time. You know what I mean? Like, it's
That
just
was
all
a
the
big
damn time.
narrative in the last episode with Jan Blachowicz because he made this career
Exactly. I was talking
switch.
about the way
Yeah,
Yanni against Izzy too as well. And damn, that's a bad episode
it's
of
a
this. But
damn
yeah,
shame. Yeah,
I know. Yeah, but I'm like, get develop. You got to get better. I like to see people get better. And I was like, I don't think Ngannou has gotten better. For one, first of all, because you can't even tell in these very quick fights, and then also he was kind of being really sloppy with his knockouts, uh, in terms of like just like running at people, or they themselves putting themselves in like horrible positions to his easy counters.
mm.
Uh, but in this fight, man, he looks like a competent fighter. I have to respect it, man. He like one combo, he double jabbed, like feinted to the body and threw a right hand. The first shot that he landed on Stipe. I'm like, hey, wait a minute, that's what good fighters do. You know, that's what normal fighters do. You know what I mean? That's all I can say. Uh, he did that a few times. The first time he dropped him, he used a faint throwaway right hand, and then caught Stipe as he was exiting with that left straight and dropped him. I was like, man, I gotta respect you. You know what I mean? That's stuff that reasonable fight. No, that's stuff that competent fighters do. Uh, like I will say, like for as much as I'm impressed with Ngannou, it's unfortunate. Stipe didn't really do much. He didn't get much going. He didn't like give him any pause with anything. He didn't even really get started
Talking
fighting the
about
whole time,
Stipe,
to be
right?
honest with you.
Stipe.
Yes, Stipe, yes. He never really got started fighting the whole time. Uh, and the one shot he did land it immediately led to him getting KO'd. But right, the one shot he did land it came directly after him getting dropped, and then proceeded directly after him getting just knocked the hell out really
Yeah.
badly, very brutally. Uh, yeah, I kind of feel like Stipe was just like, I'm gonna like try to gas him through his activity and volume, but Stipe doesn't have the defense to do that. Like that's another reason I was gonna if I would have time to like explain why I thought he was gonna lose. His defense isn't really that good, so he's just gonna be there to get hit by Ngannou, and I was just assuming that he just wouldn't be able to survive the shots. But his defense still was kind of just not really there. It was not very good at all. Uh, and obviously that is just terrible when you're facing
Oh
a
no,
hard
yeah,
hitter.
that's probably the worst. Yeah,
No,
guy in that
exactly
weight
what I
class. You
mean.
can
That's
have good
absolutely
defense.
terrible. Yes. So he was just kind of sitting at range, just kind of letting Agana use his speed and his like own little clever setup that he's worked on to do what he wants, and that's just a recipe to get deaded pretty much. Unfortunately, it made me really sad seeing CB get put down like that. That was just wrong. Uh, yeah. Uh, but no, yeah, like I kind of hope Stipe retires. I don't really know what's left there for him really. Uh, I think greatest UFC heavyweight of all time, pretty much. to me for sure. Uh, and it's good. I hope Ngannou's looking good. I hope he continues to get better, continue to get better. Uh, I'm not gonna yet say he's like a surefire like dominant champion, but I mean he has the pieces to go there. I think people like Gane or like even like Volkov and especially Derek Lewis, they could present Ngannou's problems. But I mean, after the fight, I was just like maybe happy. I like again. I like to see fighters not do the same things they're doing the whole time. I
Right.
can see them get better.
Right.
Things like that. You know what I mean? Like and Ngannou showed like just improvedness. You just that he improved pretty much, and
See,
that was all he needed to do to beat Stipe.
well, and I agree with you. See, the narrative going into this fight for a lot of educated fans was exactly as you put it. If Ngannou manages to win, it's not going to be because of a market technical improvement. It's going to be because the same strategy uh, might prove to be more effective against a sort of withered chin on Stipe Miocic. Stipe had 3 very hard fights with another pretty hard hitter in Daniel Cormier. He was knocked out in one of them and then got rocked in both, the second and third. So wondering whether or not his chin would have held up against a flailing, wild Francis Ngannou was enough to instill doubt in people's minds as to whether or not he would be able to win the fight. I will say, Stipe's chin looked like the best chin I've ever seen for round 1. He got hit hard over the top and kicked in the face, and he took it, but him taking it was about the only good thing I saw
Yeah.
in that round because he took it, looked like he was like, okay, that hurt, and then he was very hesitant throughout that fight. Again, as Trayvon said, and I'm not going to hit this nail too hard in the head anymore because Trayvon pretty much got it all. Francis Ngannou improved markedly between this fight and his first fight with Stipe. It was obviously the things he was doing technically, but also his patience, him realizing he couldn't just sprint out there. And it's very surprising because his last fight against Rosenstruik, he actually looked like he regressed. Like he those punches he threw, they were bad. I mean, that looked like street fight type of shit. I mean, it did not look good, and it just worked because heavyweight. But honestly, it was a little discouraging to see, and so I was kind of
Hmm.
cynical about thinking that not that I didn't. Okay, I was cynical in that I thought, man, Francis is gonna win, and it's gonna be a big laughing stock. But no, he came out there like Trayvon said. He was very patient. The first time he dropped Stipe, he throwaway right hand into like a sort of not leaping, but like projected left straight that dropped Stipe Miocic. I was very impressed with how he was doing things in the wrestling.
Oh
when
yeah, I forgot to talk about that at all. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah,
I'm sorry, my
when
bad. Yeah.
Stipe like dropped in on a sort of a snatch single to the outside, Francis stuffed the head and then managed to work himself into a sprawl, like after he had offset Stipe's weight so much by pushing down on the head, and Stipe's weight was his back and was so bent down, his posture was completely broken down. So he managed to sprawl. And what I was really happy to see was him actually engaging offensively in the grappling afterward. He sprawled out completely, like crotch to mat, had the front headlock sort of, then did a go behind, like he spun all the way around with the seatbelt and starts hitting Stipe with these right hands or left hands or whichever. And I think those did a lot of damage. Stipe looked pretty flustered after getting hit by them. And let's talk now about Stipe. Let's let that segue into Stipe's performance. Yes, loss of hesitancy, Trayvon, but I don't want to take all the credit away from Francis in doing that. The jab in the first fight was a huge factor. And the one time I think Stipe tried to throw a jab, Francis Ngannou actually kicked him in the leg coming
Yes. No, that's
in.
very important. Yes,
Yes,
very important.
and
Yes. No, he did.
I remember hearing, and I was very proud of Francis for doing that, like for actually seeing, like, oh, because counter low kicking is a thing that we talk about all the time in like more skilled divisions, but in heavyweight, when you see anyone do anything where you're like, wow, you know, but I was like, okay, so Francis actually knows how to fight, like that's cool. So I think that was a big part of the hesitancy. I think after him going for the takedown and getting hit really hard, that was hesitancy. I think after he felt the power of Ngannou, he looked kind of bewildered. And I mean, in the head kick and in the overhand right. Yeah, he really couldn't get anything going. Yeah, and it was, you don't. It was a shame to see him roll back on his ankle the way he did. I have so much respect for Stipe, and I remember the first
Me
thing
too.
I texted you guys after he lost is, and he's dead. He's dead. I mean, it looked bad. I mean, that was a
It looked
bad.
bad.
And then he got that extra fucking thumb on the
I
ground.
know. Just like O'Malley, dude, this fight card was bad, man. Because O'Malley damn near. We'll talk about O'Malley damn near killing Almeida. That shot was ridiculous that
We
O'Malley
needed
landed,
the yeah.
and then Ngannou just get a free hammer fist just
Yeah, but you know,
off an already unconscious guy. So
massive respect to Francis Ngannou for improving, for actually having a good fighter. I was very surprised. No, I've done a 180 in my opinion of him because I said I was cynically predicting that he was going to win as like heavyweight stupidity. But he came in there. He looked skilled. He looked like a good fighter. He looked like someone who is going to take an actual technician to be. I don't think Derek Lewis does it. I think
I,
Cyril Gahn might. I think
I said Volkov has a chance, but
if he's on his P's and Q's, and then just to avoid the big shots. Very impressed with his friend. And also, I listened to a story about how he worked in sand mines and to like trek across the Sahara. He had a horrible life, man, in Cameroon, and so even more respect to him for making so much of himself. And yeah, I'm a Francis fan. I think he has the potential to be to defend the belt more times than Stipe. Not that I think he will, but
Which I mean, it's only 3. Yeah, it's only 3 times, but that's good.
Yeah. Okay, that's my thoughts on that fight. Anything else to add before we move on to the co-main of T Wood versus?
No, okay, especially okay. Well, this isn't like a like like we're speaking of the T Wood in the Luke and co-main event. Like everybody around me knows I'm not too much of a big T Wood fan. I don't like how he fights, but that's
Not too
everybody
much.
around me. So nobody likes T Wood from what I
Not too
understand.
much. That's an under. You don't like Tyron Woodley as a fighter,
Yeah,
and you think
no,
he's
yeah,
a cringe
as a fight,
person.
yeah, as a fighter, I'm just not a fan. But no, as he when he came out hard in this fight, I was like, duh, he has to
Yeah.
like I was like, you can't like, come on, you know what I mean? It's like he came out hard, so I was like, okay, let me see what he does when he's coming out hard, and uh, like he was coming out hard, and then he hurt Luke that one time, and I was like, okay, like Luke's defense isn't the best, and Luke kind of is blocking. He was I forget the name of it, man, but he's just shelling up and then kind of trying to ride the punch, but it's like that's not very ideal. Uh, and he hurt Luke. I was like, okay, let me see what you can do off of that. But the hilarious thing is, man, the thing Tyron doesn't work because he gets countered, and he got countered super hard again, and he got rocked. And I was like, yeah, like Tyron really isn't good enough to work at an elite level. He has to slow the pace down. He has to make it like one right hand for 30 seconds, one right hand, another 30 seconds, 2 minutes, a minute, 2 minutes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that way he can keep himself safe. That way he won't gas. That way he won't open himself up to so many counters. Because he came out looking hard. And this and it was like, yeah, he has to come out hard. Uh, obviously, okay, before the fight, I picked Luke. I thought he was going to like beat up Tyrone, and he kind of did. Obviously, I thought Luke was kind of defensively, yeah. He was defensively vulnerable. Luke was, but I'm like, I mean, Tyrone Woodley's going to work a little bit, but he's going to kind of regress when he starts getting tagged. And he didn't even get time to regress. He just got beat up. Like as soon as he got tagged, it was just over.
Yeah, hard over the top.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was over. Yeah, man. Tyron Woodley, man. Okay. Like I like to say, like I think Tyron Woodley's like the worst champ in terms of skill and over the past like other than heavyweight, other than in the past like 10 years, many years. You know what I mean? But like I like Prime Tyron Woodley is a good fighter. I'm not gonna like disrespect him and say he's not a good fighter, but man, like he was leveraging like on very thin margins, and now that even he can't even like try to win fights against competent guys now because they'll just beat him up. Like he just it's just it's just sad. Not much to say about it. Like cool Darius. I like Darcis. I like Darcis too, where you don't like when he rose under instead of like sitting on top. But yeah, Tyron Woodley just kind of a right hand, and it's easy to counter that.
Well, I want to give Tyron Woodley a tremendous amount of credit because what did he go into this thing losing? How many? That was his 16th straight round loss. He got no. I mean, they were demoralizing losses. He lost the title, then he lost to the guy who fought for the title, and he lost to another guy. I mean, and people have had different takes on his demeanor throughout the fights. I don't know. I'm not a mind reader, as I always say, but it looked like in a lot of those fights he kind of accepted the probability that he was going to lose.
Again, like I said, I can't be Mr. like psychologist from freaking ringside, but it feels very likely that he just was like, yeah, I'm gonna lose it. I'm just gonna chill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and try and come back to the next one. But so that's why I give him so much credit for starting this fight as aggressively as he could, really looking for the finish. I I'm happy that he did that because I think it was given the corner he's back into with the promotion his only option. Like
I say he had to me again. I'm not surprised because he had to do that. Like,
yeah,
what
and
else was he gonna?
well no okay he produced one of his most exciting fights, even though he lost pretty badly. I enjoyed the fight. That was like that's a T Wood fight I would watch again because it was fun. I would show it to a friend, you know. And not to get onto the actual fight itself, it was still a Woodley-esque performance. It was just like if you revved all the sliders upward, right? Like it was still pretty much a right hand, a right hand following a slow, ineffectual one. You know, 1-2, blah blah, where he bring it, and that's where it gets countered because he's just up in the air throwing. You know, and that, and it was a beautiful counter. Oh my God, Luque can really strike. The funny thing about it is he's got the best chin in the division, I think, and thank God because his defense is horrible. Yeah, no, because T Wood dropped Darren Till with that one. He dropped Wonder Boy with that one. He dropped Robbie Law with that, and he hit him like twice or three times. And you see him wobble, you know, like trying to, like you said, do this, but it hurt him, and it's just like it's like Tyron was hitting a cinder block. You know what I mean? Yeah, and so that's what. But what I think Tyron Woodley. Here's the encouraging thing. Encouraging is a weird word when you're 38. Okay, here's the
On a 4-5 losing streak.
Right. Yes. Basically, I'm trying to in some kind of complicated way say that he needs to be more aggressive in the way that he was, but not so aggressive that he gets countered, right? Because like he pretty much just reliably enters with the same things, and he has like defensive openings, and that's why he said he doesn't work. But there's definitely a middle ground between not working at all and working all the time. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to get countered and not doing anything, so you lose. Like in the middle ground doesn't have to be like once every 15 minutes I'm going to time a right hand that's going to miss and then fall into an over-under clinch and get stuck there for the rest of the fight, bore the fans to death, and make everyone want to commit suicide. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's there for him now still against bottom of top 15, maybe top 20 fighters. What I want, though, is to give Damian Maia a rematch because I think Maia actually might win that one now.
No, don't do that. That's terrible. If he comes out hard against Maya, what is Maya gonna do to survive that?
Probably duck under
Arman,
and keep shooting
dude,
for
what?
takedowns.
No, dude, Arman, I thought we were Maya fans here, man.
Dude, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I genuinely think Maya can win that fight now, especially if he's like, oh, instead of shooting for his hips, I just gotta hold him in the over/under clinch.
No, that's not gonna work.
Why?
He's gonna get.
I think it would work. I think he can win that fight now. Well, he's also old as fuck and just got knocked out by Gilbert Burns.
Yeah.
Never mind. Let's just cut Tyron Woodley. Or we could give him to a guy like Nico Price, who he just.
You were out here making fun of me, thinking that like middleweights wouldn't have shots against heavyweights. I think Maya against Woodley is worse than middleweights against heavyweights. At least I've seen middleweights knock out heavyweights.
No, I think middleweights would have a shot against heavyweights.
Yeah.
I'm not making fun of you. I think that's true.
Oh, okay. That's my bad.
I think if Yoel Romero or Robert Whittaker, he's too small, but if someone like Yoel Romero went up to heavyweight and somehow could like deal with the size disparity there, he'd probably win a lot of fights.
Yeah, he won a lot of fights.
Yeah, more than he would at middleweight. Easier than he would at middleweight.
Yeah. He won a lot of fights at middleweight. He won a lot of fights. He won a lot of fights at middleweight.
Yeah, most guys at middleweight, with the exception of the top 3 heavyweights or something like that, would.
Duh. That's what any weight class. Like I think Volkanovski, who would be a tiny lightweight, would do good at lightweight, but like he wouldn't beat like the top guys.
No, but I'm talking about just with heavyweight. Like I think if Robert Whittaker fought John Jones, he would have given John Jones hell.
I agree.
Yeah,
I think if Robert Whittaker fought Curtis Blades, ironically, that would be a weird ass fight for Curtis Blades.
He's too big for him, bro.
But no, no, that is the very thing. He could just pick him up and just slam. But like if he didn't,
Robert Whittaker is like my height. Curtis Blades is a fucking linebacker. But I think if Robert Whittaker had like 20 more pounds of natural build, and then just got fat, I don't know.
no. If he legit just got fat, that'd be fine. In my opinion, like if he just got fat, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
But
I mean, John Vellante did it. Jesus Christ.
I forgot about John Vellante.
Yeah, he got fucking pregnant with like an entire family.
That's no. If Whittaker just got fat, he'd be completely fine at heavyweight. Just completely fine. It just wouldn't even be a problem.
I mean, look at Roy Nelson. And that guy's a middleweight with a big fat belly. That's what he is.
No lie. If Robert Whittaker just got fat, he'd be completely fine. He'd be just a top contender for the rest of his life, easy.
Honestly,
no problem.
That's true. I mean, it worked with. I think I'm underestimating the ability of people to do that because, like, look at The shredded black crystal lover. What's his name again? Cannonier. Jared Cannonier. I'm not talking about drugs. I'm talking about like he likes this fucking weird like pirate.
But no, Jared Cannonier, yeah. Like also he wasn't even that good back then, but he was a fine heavyweight. He was okay heavyweight then, but he just wasn't even good back then, but he was okay. You know what I mean? Like no, yeah.
Yeah, but
If
I mean
Whitaker
he
just got
competed
fat,
in the weight class. Yeah,
yeah. If Whitaker got fat, he'd be a top 5 guy for the rest of his life. You know what I mean? If I get a title, just maybe. You
maybe,
know what I mean?
maybe. Anyway, so that's that. Let's move on now to the third. What was that? What was that fight? Which one was it?
Oh, Sean O'Malley versus Almeida.
Ah, man, this was one of the more obvious gimmies in the UFC. This was
Yeah. Like I remember when Thomas Almeida was a prospect. That was fun days. That was some really fun days when Thomas Almeida was a prospect. That was really fun. But yeah, no, he's not. Not anymore.
man.
Clearly.
He had no idea
Uh,
how to deal with the range. He kept weighting him very slowly with this like shifting switch stepping, and I just
no, yeah. Like I guess I'll start talking with Thomas Almeida just because I brought him up first. Like I'm gonna go a little bit. You know, like in the fight, he didn't really do anything. Uh, didn't know how to close the gap much at all. Like O'Malley's like O'Malley's not a bad fighter, first of all. Like, cause when I get to O'Malley, I'm gonna be like, I don't think he's a top contender yet, but duh. Uh, but no, like O'Malley's a good fighter, so it's not like you can just do whatever you want to him for free. But you got to be able to contest him at range. Like Almeida threw very few kicks, threw very few anything really, but he didn't like contest O'Malley at long range, so that way he could bridge the gap easier. Like he just let O'Malley spin kick him and front kick him and head kick him for free, or he let him front kick him and then build into other kicks for free, which got his ass whooped over time. Or he would just charge through hard into range, very with no like setups to begin with or no like ways to buffer the distance so that way he can get in for safely, either through head movement or either through like a feinted strike or either through anything really. You know what I mean? And so he just kind of was fighting like 1,000 feet away, hoping O'Malley was going to just miss his strikes, basically. Hoping O'Malley was going to miss his strikes and let him close that gap for him, and then kill him. Uh, and when he tried to pressure O'Malley, like that's good footwork. He can circle off the cage well. He doesn't like people just coming on him for free. So it and he'll counter like off of bad positioning. So it's like I don't really know what O'Malley was doing to win this fight. Like O'Malley's like a range striker that tries to build into close range exchanges or close range sniping shots, so he can put big power on you. And Almeida didn't have any. I don't know what fight he was trying to fight at all. Like just at all. Like I don't know what he was trying to do. I guess like Stipe. I didn't really know what Stipe was trying to do either. But like Almeida just kind of was just sitting at range and was like, hopefully he'll overextend or close the gap for me, so I can get my combos flowing. But he barely got anything going. Uh, and it's sad. You know what I mean? You got deaded for no reason. When it comes to Almeida.
yeah. I'm waiting on my dog to see if they're gonna bark again. Okay, I agree with you, man. I mean, for one, Sean O'Malley is like you said, range striker, likes to kick and then build into close range exchanges or really like close range entries so he can like snipe, hit hard, and back out. He's not like he's not building into a pocket so he can consistently work in the pocket. That's kind of why I feel like a guy like Piotr Yan would just, I mean, obviously, but would probably just like destroy him. um, so I'm gonna talk about the fight first, and then I'm gonna get into
Mhm.
O'Malley as a fighter and the person. So Almeida, the only success he really had was in kicking like the legs. I mean, he was chopping at the legs,
Yes,
and you can
people need to do that
see,
more.
yeah, but for some reason, maybe it's because of his history with leg injuries or his ankle injuries. O'Malley was bothered by it more than the average fighter who gets kicked in the leg for the first time in the fight seems to be. Right? Like he would take a bad step and kind of pause, and there'd be like this, like that, like this look on his face where he's like resetting his mentality or whatever afterward. I don't know if that's the right word, but he's kind of grimacing for a second and then getting back into his movements after every single kick that landed. And he also, if you notice, he also kind of slips and trips over his feet a lot. Like when he switches stances or something, it seems like he's gonna have ankle problems for a while. Like I noticed him slip on his own.
No, like I really think O'Malley like is fragile in a weird way, man. Like I just don't think he like wears damage really well. Uh, which is unfortunate. Not a very good thing to be with if you're a fighter. Uh, no, I think O'Malley's good. I think he is has good skills and spaces. I'm not sure he has like really good depth We'll have to see that when he fights better guys. Uh, Again, a lot of guys too that he smacks, they give him the fight. They just give him his fight. They just allow him to have his fight, or they don't have the ability or the athleticism or the chin to be able to just withstand basic things. Because even in the Cheeto fight, man, Cheeto looked like he's about to start coming back into the fight because Cheeto always starts pretty slow and then kind of works himself back into a fight. And like,
That was a bad fight for O'Malley, I think, in the long
yeah,
run.
I think it was a really bad fight. I see like I can I can't really I'm sorry I can't really see like a championship development from O'Malley if I had to use my own like assumptions. Obviously, it's really hard to tell like who's gonna be champion, who's not gonna be champion. It's always extremely difficult in my opinion. Like very few guys can be like, I think this guy could be a champion.
Yeah.
To me, it's extremely hard. But to me, O'Malley's gonna have to like change in a lot of ways, kind of like fundamentally, to become a championship level fighter. If I had to uh, uh, like give my opinion on the matter. I mean, this is a showcase fight for him. It's
It
cool.
was, and it was annoying to watch because he doesn't deal with range very well. He doesn't know how to close the range. He was just kind of confounded at range with O'Malley. We talked about this in the last episode with Jan Blachowicz versus Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya is obviously a better range striker and a better kicker than Jan, but Jan wasn't just like, all right, I'm going to lose here, even though he's better. He actually contested him at that range. He kicked him back, he check kicks, he threw punches, he countered, he jabbed with him, jabbed to the body. And that allowed him to ultimately win the whole fight, even though he lost a competitive fight in that slice of range. Like Almeida didn't do that. He just kind of looked like, all right, I'm gonna look for an opportunity, but it stomach all the damage in the meantime. Yeah, I mean O'Malley has very good striking instincts. You can't take away from him that he's a good striker. He does weird things like this thing he'll do where he'll look off to the side and then come back. I think flashy stuff like that is not going to work against actual really good fighters. He's going to have to fight a more disciplined fight against just like better 135ers. Is he a 135er?
He's a 135er. 135 is the biggest division in MMA by far.
I don't know why. For some reason, I thought about Zabit, but that's not the same division. But
135, like all 135ers are enormous. It's ridiculous to me, man. I don't know how they do that.
But anyway, I don't really like him as a person. Actually, I don't like him at all as a person. I think there's a very fine line between, not a fine line. I mean, I'm not talking about the margins between. I'm talking about there's a difference between being confident, even supremely confident, and being arrogant. Right? Confidence is believing you can do a lot of things despite your insufficiencies. Arrogance hinges on being proud of your insufficiency. And in many ways, O'Malley demonstrates that. Like to say like, oh, against Cheeto Vera, I didn't lose that fight. I actually, and it's not even the calf kick. I know how to check calf kicks. It's that he hit me in the precise 1 in a million spot on my nerve that deadened my foot. That's in a sneaky way showing a pride or a dismissal of your own inadequacy. Like, no, you got kicked in the thing. That you should have dealt with that properly. Not, oh, I could have dealt with it anyway. You're rejoicing in almost like by dismissing the efficacy of a technique that clearly worked against you and that lost you the fight, right? And rejoicing and rather exalting yourself and your actual ability to deal with it. You're completely ignoring the fact that maybe you could have done wrong, and instead, like, I'm better than him. I'm better than that. In the face of a very clear loss. Like when McGregor talks shit about Khabib after getting smashed by him. It's arrogance. It's not honesty. And you can see arrogance almost costed O'Malley a highlight reel finish. He got the finish in the end because I thought, okay, his arrogance would have costed him there. All he needs to do is go in for one more punch and it's finished there. And yeah, it's annoying. It's so there's a thing about gimmies. Like you want to build your prospects, but there's something dishonest about giving them fights that they're obviously going to win without a challenge. It's like when you build your prospects, you need to give them fights that push them but that they can win. Which is why I disagree with them giving Edmund Shabazian to Jack Hermanson. That fight's
coming up. Man.
Yeah. Oh my god, they're killing him. They're killing him.
No, and then obviously again, since I'm so big on development, like matchmaking is a very important part of that, and it ties a lot into that as well.
It's like 90% of it because who you
like
fight
you should
matters.
Also on your come up, you normally, I mean you normally shouldn't catch like just guys you can squash. You know what I mean? Like that's very normal. Normally is not the best unless you are training in a very good way consistently. That's like developing your skills, and you're just using that time to squash people just to like get a record up, basically, kind of like Khabib, which is fine. You know what I mean? Which is fine. You know what I mean?
But he still had that development. Like he fought Gleison Tibau, he fought
yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. Too. Yes, exactly. Yes, yeah. I'm talking about Khabib's like regional record because he fought a lot of bad guys.
A whole bunch of nobodies,
which is fine. Yeah, that's fine. You know what I mean?
No namers, no hopers.
like everybody fights nobodies. You know what I mean? Uh,
Mhm.
but no, yeah, like yeah, you're supposed to just get like a guy that's like, oh, like O'Malley's fight against Tyrion Ware. Tyrion Ware's a really good like prospect developer because Tyrion Ware, he gave like I think he gave Sean a good fight. I think he fought Jimmy Rivera or maybe was it Cody? Not Cody. No, well, Tyrion Ware is just a good prospect development guy. He's just a good guy that made things tough for people.
Mhm.
Uh, and like because he was tough everywhere, physical, not the most athletic at all, really kind of slowish. He was just skilled, tough, had cardio to go 15 minutes, and if you're good, if you show that you're a skill level, you'll beat him. You'll have to fight for it though, and if you're not so good, he'll just kind of drown you out, which is a great type of guys to fight. You know what I mean?
Zone
I mean,
of
that's the best
conflict
people.
moment.
It'll build you like a certain level of like mental toughness. It'll build you like tell you like what skills you should be what skills you should be gaining. It'll tell you like these are my flaws. He gave me problems in this. We're here. Oh, I hit him hard and he didn't fall. That I'm not really used to that. Like guys, when I touched him on the regionals, they fell from
They
that,
died.
but he
Yeah.
could stay up. Yeah, you know what I mean. And he fought back. Oh, you know what I mean. Things like that. It's very important to fight guys like that uh, as you develop as well. Uh, and like again with Edmund, man, don't know what he's do. Jack Hermanson, that might be a worse matchup for him than
Brunson.
Brunson, man. He's higher in the rankings. Like
Dude, because Jacker Manson, his ceiling level for maximum juicing of his potential is lower than Edmund Shabazian. Like Shabazian
yes,
could go on to be the best version, the best potential version of Shabazian would I think beat any version of the prime Hermanson. But right
yes,
now he's like 20
hypothetically,
something.
yes, yeah,
Hypothetically. But right now he's like
yes,
20 something. You know what I'm saying? They're
yeah,
giving it to someone he's fought. Jack Hermanson is not the best. He's not ever going to be a title contender. But who has he fought? Jack Hermanson, he fought Cannonier. He fought Vittori, who's now fighting Darren Till, who fought a good fight against Robert Whitaker. Jack Hermanson fought the guy who fought
Jacare,
not Jacare. Not only
Dave Branch,
the other guy who we don't like very much, Kelvin Gastelum. And you know what I'm
he
saying?
fought. Mhm.
Yeah, but okay, but Kelvin Gastelum would kill Shabazian right now because you know what I'm saying. But even because these are just seasoned, they've been doing it for so long. It's like I don't know, and I just don't want to see because he's Armenian, bro. I don't want
I
to
know,
see him
right?
get
No, yeah, because
killed.
I told him, I was like, dude, Arman, they put him there to fight Jack. That's a step up. I
That's
don't know when they put him in.
yeah, that's worse for him. Oh man, he's gonna get killed. It's gonna look bad. He looked bad against Brunson. He did not look like he looked when he fought Brad Tavares. You know, he didn't look. I don't know. I
Well,
mean,
he's finding a good guy. That's what happens.
that's why
Like,
because he's not ready for it yet. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, yeah. Because he came out strong against Brunson, and then was like, oh, he's still here, and Brunson started to mix up his takedowns in, and then that was it. You know what I mean? And then that was the fight.
Yep.
Uh, and Jack Hermanson's tough, man. If he can survive the shots and kind of drag the fight into the ground, then it kind of might be the same fight. You know what I mean?
It's hard. You know,
It kind of might
Cannonier
be the
is
same
a
fight.
very hard hitter, and he
Yes.
got dropped by him, but and he's extremely strong. You know, but I mean, Hermanson fought a 5-round war. You didn't like it very much, but it was a grueling fight against Marvin Vittori. You know,
Yeah.
he's tough. He knows how to fight. I don't think Shabazian can last in deep waters like that yet.
No, yeah, yes, no. He's never shown the ability to last in deep waters. Even Darren Stewart,
Yeah.
he damn near lost that fight.
Yep.
You can make the argument he lost that fight, which was on he was still young as hell then, but still, I don't think he's like a deep water guy yet. He hasn't shown that ability yet.
No, and that's but Hermanson, we know he can get there. So even if Shabazian gives him all hell for a round, I think Hermanson can survive, which he won't. But I think, well, I don't think he will. But he would survive, and he'd come out, and he would just make it. He would just be like, he'd be drowning him in water. He can't swim it. And so I don't understand the decision to. Anyway, so that's that. That's when we talk about. We segue from O'Malley to that. You've heard our final thoughts on O'Malley and Almeida. It was a gimme. We want to see O'Malley fight better people. We don't think he's a title. Definitely not yet. He's a good fighter. I don't like him. I hope he gets fucked up by someone in the top 7. Trevon seems not to like him, but not as much as I dislike him. We're gonna move on to the next fight on this card. What was the next thing of significance? I think Miranda Maverick.
No, talk about Miranda. That's your girl, man.
Hey, I'm a huge fan of Miranda Maverick. 23. She's a few months older than Trayvon. She's a doctoral student in industrial organizational psychology. I'm a psychology major. I'm on my final year. I hate IO psychology. I don't know how she does it. It's so boring for me. I'm more of an abnormal psych, a forensic psych type of person, but that's a different topic for a different podcast. But it's amazing to me, and you know, she's actually a good fighter, like for her age and for that division. Lots of problems, obviously, on the feet. Defensively, she's not the most savvy, but she's only 23. But it's not like she's getting in there like as a Priscilla Cachoeira. You know what I'm saying? And just kind of not doing anything and only surviving that division because it's WMMA. No, she's somehow managing to study for her PhD in a social science and fight at as much of an elite level as someone in that situation can. And she's extremely young, and I love it. I'm a huge fan. Random Maverick knows that. She's communicated with me somewhat on Facebook, so I appreciate that. It's awesome. I'm gonna drop a video about like her development so far on this because I told her I would. And yeah, that's cool. Now let's talk about the fight. For one, what's her opponent's name? Julian Roberts?
Yeah, Jillian Roberts, yeah.
Okay, Julian Roberts has got some sick ass fucking top control.
Sadie, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Julian Roberts has got some sick ass top control. It's very technical.
She's a good grappler.
She fucking hit a cradle, Trayvon. And she grounded. She mat returned her with the cradle. I'm gonna put it in the thing. I was so happy to see it.
I think I've seen it. I wasn't watching the fight like hardcore.
Like yeah.
Say it again. Yeah, I wasn't watching like that, but I do remember her on top doing good stuff. I was like, she's doing good stuff on top.
So let's talk about. So that's what I wanted to say about that. Let's talk about Miranda Maverick. Very durable. She's tough for the division. She's a hard hitter, not in the cracking sense like Amanda Nunes is, more in like the thudding sense, kind of like Cyborg. Like I don't know how to really explain it. There's like type of power, and then there's like type of power. You know what I'm saying? Like it seems
like feel like her weight and her like strength behind the shot.
Yes, yeah. It's not like the way that she twerks her arms at like you're throwing a rock at someone. It's like you're slamming a very heavy object at like a medium speed into someone. It's more of a very hard push, but it works. She has nice straight hitting. I saw her throw a corkscrew uppercut. Didn't really like it. Her 1-2s, you know, they're not that fast, but they're hard. She's durable. That's always great in a female division. She's very strong. I like her kicking. I like her going to the body with front kicks and stuff. She times good double legs. She has like a good sense of when to go for takedowns. On top, she's good. Her work on the bottom, I was really happy. And also, I think when she kind of get wild and go, ha, 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 like, you know, just kind of marching rock'em sock'em punches. But when she gets opponents against the cage, like where they're just backed up against the fence and she explodes like that with less technical stuff, she can really put like work on them there and really damage them. And I'm really happy to see her do that. It worked against Julian Roberts. She was winning at range anyway because Julian Roberts can't strike for shit. But, you know, when she got Julian Roberts up against the fence, she was pressing the action with like wild punches. They were landing and they were hurting. And I like her doing that because she's got power. I was most I always saw the fight happening like that on the feet, for all the athletic and technical reasons that I just mentioned. I was most surprised. It gladdened me most to see her patience on the ground. Clearly, she was out techniqued by a better top player than she was a bottom player. And for that reason, she ended up stuck beneath Julian Roberts for 4.5 minutes or 4 minutes or 3.5, whatever it was. But you can see that her understanding of grappling dynamics and defensive grappling dynamics were on par with Julian Roberts because she knew what she needed to look for and she waited patiently, staying relatively safe until those openings presented themselves. So it was a display of, like, let's say defensive grappling IQ more than technical prowess on the bottom. Like, there's a lot of times I thought, oh, if you pummel the right elbow through or whatever in from this back position, you can get out quickly. It looked like she maybe didn't know how to or couldn't do that, but knew exactly like the principle of the escape she needed to do. Like, I need to get to my hip and build a base, and I only know a few ways to do that. I can't do that from here given my technical limitations, but I know that is the way out. So I'm going to wait in this safe way for Julian Roberts to make an opening, and then I'm going to go for it. And through that patience, she eventually got back to her feet. You know, she was looking for singles to try and stand up on and build a base. Roberts cradled her, mat returned her. She did lots of things like spinning around to the back, getting go-behinds in that way, and caused Miranda Maverick to restart. But Maverick never really got frustrated. She threw a couple dummy punches from this position that didn't really, you know, do anything. Kind of almost, you know, jeopardized her neck. But I was very impressed with her patience and willingness to lose several minutes on the bottom in order to capitalize on the eventual presentation of an opening and then escape, which she did. And then she made the most of the second round by sitting up and rocking or wobbling Roberts or whatever. The judges were on crack for giving her that second round. I think she prevented it from being a 10-8 with liberal 10-8 judging, you know, by hurting her at the end. But I don't think she stole her round by any means. She would have had to have dropped her and had her on Queer Street. You know what I mean? And she just didn't. But yeah, I was very happy to see her. I need to rewatch it so I can make more like a detailed analysis of what she did specifically on the feet. But yeah, congrats to Maverick. I have a lot of really high hopes for her. You're up.
No, yeah, I mean, Arman talked about the fight way more than I could have ever talked about the fight because I wasn't on the fight like that. uh, I think that's about it for the rest of the card. We can just kind of quickly go over like the basic.
Why am I
Uh,
wearing this trip? I gotta talk about Abu Bakr.
we talk about it for a little bit. But so yeah, Kama Worthy, I like him. He's cool, but he got knocked out. He was out of position really bad. It's not a big
He doesn't have a
deal.
good
Alonzo
chin.
middle. Say it again.
He doesn't have a good chin.
Yeah, that's important. That's really unfortunate too. Alonzo Middlefield, he won by Von Flu. Like that's cool, I guess.
Light heavyweight needs to be abolished.
We'll go about Abu Akbar Nurmagomedov against
Abu
Chongo.
Akbar.
Did I say it wrong? Dang, I said it. You should say it then. You talk about it. This is your this is your fight. I don't want to be out here just disrespecting anybody. Is Abu Bakr?
Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr.
I'm just going.
But
Let's get to the fight.
Because you called him Abu Akbar, so I have to correct. Abu Akbar.
Okay.
Akbar means great. But anyway, that's so funny. Oh my god, Abu Bakr. Just call him Manap. That's his nickname. Honestly,
I just do that.
I was a big fan of. I was not a big fan of anything. I didn't think he would win. I didn't think he was gonna win this fight, even though that his opponent, something good, whatever it isn't that great. Because his last fight, he didn't look good. He got a good takedown. He didn't look like he was very good on the top. He had like janky passing. A lot of people will. There's like the thing about having tight elbows and using efficient movements to stuff legs behind you when you're passing and step over them into half guard. And then there's people who understand that you have to do that, but who do this. They do this when they're passing, and then they get triangled because they put their arm way past them and they try and control a leg way behind them with one arm before their base is effectively shifted over the knee, like to the left and on top of their opponents in guard. And so then the guy just retracts their leg since their leg is stronger than your grip most of the time. And then they put you in a triangle, and that's what happened to Abu Bakr. And it's like strange because like you start to realize that Khabib is like a special talent, and it's not just that he's from Dagestan. You know what I mean? Like all those Russian guys, like they're not. It's not. There's nothing in the water there that makes them like elite grapplers. It's yeah, you have to be good. But Abu Bakr looked good in the feet. He looked like a budget Khabib. It was strange, man. He looked just like Khabib. He looked like a clone. And even his build, the only thing that differentiates him was like his head shape and the size of his head. Like when I saw him like do the head wiggle and his like weird janky jab from the back, I was like, this is Khabib. This is Khabib. Like this is him. His entries were. He looked like on the feet. He is just as mechanically wonky, but does more things than Khabib does. Like he'll fight from both southpaw and orthodox. He'll throw more knees and kicks. The mechanics are just as they're just as whatever as Khabib's. But he definitely doesn't seem like he's going to be as process driven. That he's going to be as smart with how he flails and leans back to get out of the way of punches. His grappling is nowhere near as good as Khabib's is. Like when he gets the back body lock, when he gets the clinch, when he gets the takedown, it's not that good. His top control is not nearly as good. When is the last time we saw Khabib get stuck in someone's guard and get elbowed from the top, or like just stall out on top of half guard and just throw punches to the body? Never. It's always working. He's never stuck on top. Yeah. So honestly, I would say Abu Bakr probably a better striker than he is a wrestler or a grappler. He looked good compared to what I thought he'd look like. I was impressed. Congrats. I don't think I think yeah, he'll win fights. He'll lose fights. He'll be middle of the pack. He's not a young guy to be entering the UFC anyway. He's like 32. But we can, yeah. His I don't have anything else to say. Congrats. I was happy he won. Go like that. I thought he'd lose.
No, yeah, that's about that for the rest of the card, pretty much. I mean, I don't.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, we had a blast talking to y'all. Great to be back. We're back. Like we're back. I'm good. I'm ready to rock and roll. Chapon's always ready to rock and roll. And yeah, see y'all guys later. Peace out. Love y'all.